Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. I had the opportunity just a while back to hang out with and speak to one Adam Biggs, singer and bassist for progressive death metal crew Rivers of Nihil, and we talked about their upcoming self-titled album, Rivers of Nihil. We talked about how the dynamic of their songwriting and songcraft may or may not have changed with Adam stepping up as lead singer. We talked about all the tours they've done with Cynic and Obituary over the years. We talked about a lot of stuff. I'm happy to share this conversation now finally with you. Enjoy. Wow. Here you go.
Do you want me to go like landscapey?
Sure, that
Maybe.
works.
All right, great.
Well, thank you very much. Welcome to the Metal Meltdown. How are you today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing real good. I'm about to leave for a vacation, literally within the next couple hours. So
Sweet.
super last minute end of day business for me, but happy to have you on here. I actually tried to get Brody on the Metal Meltdown a couple years back, but I think y'all were on tour and it was like a tour bus call, and it was like the PR person was like, "Oh, it's either going to be really late at night or really early in the morning," and I was just like, "I'm good. I'm gonna let them sleep." Like,
Yeah, it's a mess when you try to do stuff when you're over there. There's on some bad service or Wi-Fi too, so yeah, it can be kind of tough to pin down.
hmm you got a brand new album on the way, self-titled album, and this is the first album that you are doing on lead vocals and with Andy Thomas in the band. How did the lineup shift? How did this lineup shift change how you write and perform songs together as a unit? Like, was it different without Jake? Was it, I mean, I assume it's different, but
I mean, it's different. It's different just in you know, just in the raw fact that Jake isn't involved. Like it's and then there's nobody that I need to translate um, vocal ideas to. Like I just, other than Andy and Jared, who are right there, um, I could just kind of, write knowing that I will be the one delivering it and I don't have to think about it in any other special way. Not that I ever really did before. But I don't know, maybe it's just maybe subconsciously I would write a little different knowing that it was going to be Jake singing it, but yeah, I can't say that other than that, it hasn't really like, on the writing side of things, it really hasn't changed much of how we do what we do. Um, we just, it's mostly Brody, with some help writing the bulk of the music and then me writing the lyrics and vocal parts. And yeah, I mean that's basically the same process on this record too. And just having, also having Andy around, knowing that we can, utilize his voice in key moments and get a nice big chorus out of him, I guess help the writing process in that way. But yeah, other than that, it was a pretty similar to how we've been doing things.
when you were deciding who to fill in for lead vocals, were you from the beginning like I'm gonna do it, or was there like a discussion? Was there someone else you were considering?
There was like because it kind of happened in the middle of a tour where Jake had left us and it was unexpected, and um so we were just kind of out there on this tour floating around playing our last record in full, and which was advertised with the show and everything, and then people were showing up and there's no lead vocalist on deck, so that was a little awkward to deal with for a while, and then it got to a point where I was like, and we called a few people and tried to see if we could get somebody out there to fill in on the tour, and it just nothing was going, and so we decided at a certain point that it was like, well, actually we didn't decide. I just kind of started doing it. I just kind of jumped into it one night and just started singing the songs and just letting my hands, do what they did. just so I wasn't we weren't ripping off people in the crowd, they were trying to like, be like, this is the whole thing here. But yeah, after that, there was a little hunting around for a replacement vocalist and everything. Which I was kind of like a proponent for. Like I kind of was like, well, we need to find a new guy and to keep the formula the same. But the rest of the band seemed to like the four-piece configuration more, and I guess we all agreed essentially that it would be, more potentially tumultuous to bring somebody in that we didn't know, and like bring all of their baggage and all of their issues into the band and potentially, wind up in the same position. Whereas, the four of us, we were like, we all trust each other to do what we need to do, and we still felt like we could create, great music with that lineup. So we kind of just stuck with it.
Hell yeah. Do you think if the band was in a position like if someone came in that you knew really well and you were comfortable with it, would they take over as vocals, or are you like really comfortable in that role? Like you're like, this is what I'm doing.
I don't really see the need to change it now. I mean, unless, there's some real special circumstance that would, but I can't really see that being the case. I feel like we're all pretty comfortable with the way things are now, and again, yeah, it's just like a group of just like super close old friends playing together, and that's really valuable. I mean, I can't say that even if I rack my brain thinking of like if somebody like whoever stepped in and was like, yeah, I would love to sing for the band, like it would have to be somebody huge. Like it would have to be something where I like,
Like Corpse
okay, yeah,
Grinder hips you up or something like that.
or like I don't know, like Freddie Mercury wakes up from the dead and wants to sing for the band or something like that. Like something huge would have to happen, like
Now that's a
that I
show
would.
I'd go to that
Yeah,
show.
right. I
That's
mean, like
wild.
that exactly. No, I know. I just I don't know. Like if somebody was just real, like I don't know. I can't even say that. Like no offense to Corpse Grinder or anything. Like he's one of my favorite vocalists of all time. But I feel like even if he rocked up to us, I'd be we'd kind of like be like, no thanks. Like
Be like,
I
we can do a song, but maybe not an album. How do
yeah,
you feel
right,
about
yeah.
that?
Like I mean, you want to be in this band? Like I don't know. Like that would be weird. I don't know. I can't like I said, racking my brain for anybody available or not. I couldn't really see anybody else doing this, and you know, and it being what we wanted it to be.
Hmm. No, I respect that, and I really like what you're doing in the band. I've heard
Thank you.
about half the album thus far through some singles and from some stuff I've gotten from the PR guys. I think it's great. I'm a longtime Rivers of Nihil fan myself.
Sweet.
This is the first album of yours that you've done that isn't based on a season. How conceptually does this album branch out from others?
Um, well, I mean, I think that this one, I feel like every record that we do, and probably that any record that anybody does, is going to be like kind of a response to the last thing you did. And I feel like that's kind of true here. Like it's sort of whereas like maybe if the work was more like introspective, this one is like the opposite of that, where it's like a little more, looking outward into what's going on around in the world, and not thinking so much inwardly about what's going on with me, or internal problems. Like conceptually, I don't know. It's just it's I think it's more of a simplification of that whole idea. Like it's less like it doesn't. I like the fact that this album didn't need to be a part of this big series, or like the songs didn't need to tell this like really cohesive, like start to finish story. Like I just kind of wanted to revel in it more as an album. Like we kept looking towards like the Black Album over and over again as like an example of like it's just a band who like had done like you know, really, really big shit. Like why I had made like classic albums, and then they just wanted to narrow it down
Hmm.
and turn it into the most digestible form of itself, and they like and just arrange the tracks in a way that feels like tasteful and everything. Like that's kind of what we were going for, rather than some big like connected tissue overarching story theme.
Was you mentioned the Black Album, was pulling influence and looking to that album kind of as an example. Did naming the album Rivers of Nile, was that like a byproduct of that? Because
I mean,
officially it.
it's hard to tell which came first, because we were thinking about doing it self-titled for a long while. And I think maybe what happened there was like, because I thought it was a good idea to now that the seasons thing is wrapped up, like kind of, and that was always kind of a way to like grow the band as an artistic experience. Like, because when we first got signed, it was kind of like, well, now it's really time to buckle down and figure out what we want to be. And we have this record contract, and we're going to make these albums. And so I figured what we could do was focus on this big, this big interconnected thing, but also, where it's like the seasons kind of represents time, the passing of time and growing up. And then at the end, we'd almost have like a way to go back and see what we've learned, see what we've become, take the best things from that experience and turn it into something. Uh, and I think that's what we did. And like, so it makes sense you know, to self-title at that point. To me, like, this is it. This is what just step in and be like, this is what we figured out from doing these seasons records, and all of the changes that we've undergone. And this is a chance to kind of start again, but with the knowledge of what we've been through. And yeah, I mean, so I think, but like, having that decision in place caused me to like look around at other bands that did similar things, and it's just like, well, Metallica did like almost exactly the same thing. Like, they had four records, and then they hit that fifth mark, and we're like, let's make Metallica the album. As
Hmm.
I felt like that was kind of a synchronicity a little bit, so it helped as sort of like an inspiration and a little guide there.
You also mentioned looking outwards towards more things that are happening in the world, and one thing I notice in some of the newer songs is you are talking about a lot of things like artificial intelligence, justice, and in the song American Death, there's a sample of Hillary Clinton in the very beginning saying, "We came, we saw, he died." Was there like some kind of act how do I put this? Was it like the goal to like really look at the world and really examine it? Like, were you kind of like writing about things you were seeing? Is there like a specific message you want to put out? Or is it just kind of like your examinations and like putting out that frustration?
Yeah, I mean, it is like, it is about frustration, and about it's sort of I feel like a lot of the songs have this paranoid edge to them as well. Like, there's just looking outward into this really uncertain world, but each song has its own separate topic. And yeah, like American Death is really just a frustration with a lifetime of political strife.
Mhm.
Being It's just constantly, like I'm here, just in my own skin, looking around at the world, and it's fine, everything's fine, but you turn on the news, or like, you focus, you have you can get caught in these traps where you hyper fixate on the political things in the world, and it's just sort of this big show. And like, some people go really, really far down this rabbit hole. They'll cut off people in their lives. They'll make all sorts of big decisions based on what they think is happening, somewhere far, far away from them, and it feels really manipulative. And that's kind of the point of that song is just, like, but yeah, and I mean that Hillary Clinton quote is just sort of it's a shout out to the bloodthirstiness of the political class in America. It's just her celebrating the death of another world leader, just
Hmm.
kind of flippantly. I think it encapsulates the glut of the military industrial complex up to that point. So that felt like an appropriate addition.
There's one line in the song American Dream 2, near the end. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but the gist of it is there's nothing more American than death. That's my American dream. And in the song too, talk about like if this is where I die, then I die living my American dream. And I thought that was honestly really powerful. Like I thought that was great because I mean the amount of violence you see in the United States is, as a Canadian, it can be a little weird sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, but it's always, the way you got to look at it is it's all under a microscope. And I feel like, having gotten around the world a few times here and there, it really puts that into focus. Other people from outside of the country are deathly afraid of America because they think it's just a nonstop war zone or something. But that's not the world that I live in. I mean, there are, there are bad things going on everywhere. It's a big place. There's a lot of class disparity. There's a lot of, there's crime, but I think generally people are okay, and things are okay, um, despite what the news sensationalizes and all of that. But yeah, that line is from the I think it's from the second verse is just basically saying, like, you know, I guess you when you're growing up here, you're kind of like waiting for the other it feels like waiting for the other shoe to drop a little bit because you're supposedly at the center of the world politically and like militarily it's huge, and it's like as a country you almost feel like a little bit like Tony Soprano at the end of Sopranos. You just don't know who's going to pull the hit on you a little bit. And so like it's just like that verse is just me sort of being like, well, one day the bill's going to come due. Maybe it's in my lifetime, but like I think it's the most patriotic thing on in the song where it's just like if if they come and they kill me, I can't say that I had a bad life as an American. Like and I would probably I would fight to defend it if I could. But
Mhm.
but it's also recognizing that yeah, we have a lot of enemies and a lot of issues here.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I love that angle, honestly. Like, kind of like, because you see people, I don't know, I think a lot of Americans, or at least from what I see, are a little weary to criticize America and then simultaneously stand up for America because it's their home and it can be complicated. And I mean, this is true. I mean, I don't think where I live in Canada is perfect either, but like, I still love where I live, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's the point. I mean, that's huge. You need to love where you live, and if you don't, then you should probably go somewhere else. I mean, I know that's a
I
hot
was
thing to
about to
say.
say that might sound a
That's
little
a hot thing
funky.
to say, but I mean, like, God, like, if that's true on any level, really. Like, if you live in a bad apartment building, try and find somewhere else to go. If you really think that the foundations are rotten and it's going to fall down on you, like, you should get the hell out of there. But I mean, I think considering, if we're going to just wrap America here, like, I just like, I think that's always been in our DNA is to figure out how to do this all better. And, I think you can't really, yeah, there's a lot of sentiment out there that's just, it's all glaringly negative towards the state of the country and whatever. But I think that I think that fights the point more than anything. Is like you should just work to try and change the place because it is one of the most flexible places to live. Like there's not a monarchy or anything like that that holds you down like you're some peasant. I mean, shadowy forces out there, of course, but I don't know. It's really just look around it in the world around you and live the best life you can with what is really in front of you. If you're worrying about what some guy in a city hundreds of thousands of miles away from you is like writing into law or whatever, and I mean, you could figure it out, but I mean, like you just have to try and appreciate the real world that you live in and take care of where you live and try and proceed with love
Hmm.
for your land and your home. I think it makes sense to me.
Hell yeah. I noticed there's also a song called Rivers of Nile on the album called Rivers of Nile, which also closes out the album. Is it fair to say that that's like the quintessential Rivers of Nile song there, giving you the most of Rivers of Nile?
I think it's an interesting it's a short song. It's very brief. I think it's very beautiful and I think it's the most direct look at the name itself. Obviously, like it's a self-titled on the record. It's we pull a Bad Company by Bad Company from the album Bad Company thing. So I thought that this album was a good time to sort of examine the name itself because a lot of people ask me, what is Rivers of Nile, like what does that mean? Like why did you come up with it? And it was like we kind of I don't know, like it was just a thing that Jake actually said, and everybody was just kind of like, yeah, okay. When we started the band, and there was like no thought behind it, and so in starting to work on this record, I had to act. I felt like I actually had to think about it and then say something about it, and I feel like that's what that song really does. And yeah, so you'll have to wait and see.
Hell yeah, fair enough. No spoilers. It's all good. The use of saxophones on Rivers of Niles' album has become a defining element for the band, especially since Where Owls Know My Name. Has there ever been internal pressure to include more and more saxophone as time has gone on, or are you guys like working to make sure that you put it in the most appropriate spots, or only if it's really necessary?
Yeah, I mean it's been a. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a bit of a push pull with the saxophone element. When we did it on Owls, it's just like we kind of like we just had all these spots where we were like it could we could fill in the with we could color in with some saxophone, and we had the opportunity to do so we did. And we just like we did it with a bunch of other stuff too, that unconventional elements that we wouldn't have normally used. uh but the saxophone stuff just hit. Like everybody just, immediately were like, this band is doing sax and metal music. And then we were like, I didn't realize that was so important to people. And so our immediate reaction to anything that's like giving people joy or, doing good things for us is to be like, get rid of it. like, like, like
They love
completely
it.
rebel.
Get it out.
Yeah, trash it. So we've had, every time the like for the last two records we've gone in being like, no, we're not going to do it this time. And then we get to a point where we're like, yeah, maybe we could do some here or maybe how about a little bit there. And like we kind of
Hmm.
included it in our process that way, I guess. And this new record was no different, but I feel like it was a little more homogeneously included than it has been in the past. But yeah, internal pressure, yeah, I guess. No, it's mostly external pressure. Like I think we were kind of ready to be done with it, but it's just like, and like we put out these singles in the last couple of years that just had none on it, and it seemed like fans were like, "What's the deal? Where is it? Where's the sax?" And if we were just like, "Well, I guess it is just important to people," but I feel like we've kind of learned to love the bomb at this point, and we're kind of into it now. And I think in the future we're gonna integrate it in even more, like more thoughtful ways and perhaps more heavily. We'll see.
Hmm. I've got one more question for you, and then I'll let you go. I've seen you guys over the years many a times in Toronto. You've done tours opening for legendary death metal bands like Obituary and Cryptopsy, and you've just back in March did a tour with Cynic in Europe. Does it feel weird or exciting to have a legendary death metal band open for you guys? A band that I assume on some level was probably an inspiration as well.
Oh yeah, huge inspiration for our band. Like right when we started was around when Trace and Air came out, and that was like, that was a big deal. We were, listening to that all the time, and obviously, I mean, like I've stayed a fan, and you know, been huge into that band ever since. And yeah, having them be there on that tour with us, yeah, was surreal. Like getting to hear those songs played, before, like while I'm getting ready to take the stage was like really surreal and awesome. Yeah, it's a real honor to share the stage with people who have helped shape the genre in such important ways. And uh, yeah, I mean, it's I couldn't say that I would have expected things to turn out this way, but yeah, I mean, I was really stoked to have them, and it was a great tour.
Hell yeah. That's definitely,
Yeah.
I mean, I know you guys are on tour. Is it later this year with Inter Arma in the summer?
Yeah, we actually start that May 22nd.
Oh, wow. I thought it was way later. I got to pay more attention to
It's
stuff.
it's coming up. It's coming up.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's still cool too. Inter Arma is a great band. I really love a lot
Yeah,
of what
man.
they've done.
Yeah, man. Love those cats. I live in the same city where they're from, so I get to see them occasionally, and yeah, I'm always impressed. So I was like, hey, you boys gonna come with us or what?
Hell yeah. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you, Adam. Anything you want to say to the Metal Meltdown audience before we clock out?
Hey, just hit us up on all the socials. Riversofnihil.com has everything. We got merch, got tour dates. Come see us. Come hang out. We love doing this, and yeah. So anybody who's interested in the band at this point and has done things like pick up merch and stuff like that, thank you very much. That's really it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Thanks, man.
it's funny too because like I think I was at like the first time you guys came to Toronto. It was like not Death officially. It was like Death to All, like the tribute
That's
band
all.
essentially.
Yeah.
And Obituary and Massacre and you guys were on the lineup because I remember I even bought a CD. I think it was from Jake, come to think of it. Or at least he was
Mm.
at the merch booth or something like that.
Yeah. It was
And
either me or him, probably.
so yeah, I've been there more or less since day one. So pleasure
Sweet.
to have you
Yeah.
here. A pleasure to speak with you. Thank you
Yeah.
for your
Likewise, man.
time.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, man. Good night.
And voila, there you have it. I hope you found that educational, informative, entertaining. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Adam, especially for being here. Press this button to subscribe. Boom, even more videos here. Join us on Discord. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.